Welcome to the Dear Doc podcast, where we will discuss the business of running a dental practice with a panel of experts. Now, your host, Dr. Christopher Hoffpower.
Hey guys, this is Doc Hoffpower coming to you from my studio here in Alvin, Texas. Today we've got a really great guest and we're starting a new mini-series of serial entrepreneurs in dentistry. Today's guest is Dr. Tina Saw. Before we get into talking to her about her businesses, a quick word from our sponsors. Before we get into the show and introduce today's guest, I would just like to thank United Medical Credit for being sponsors of this podcast and of the business of dentistry. As a matter of fact, they have a special offer for Business of Dentistry members, 0% merchant fees for the rest of the year, and 30% discount for life after that. You can get that special deal by either going to docoffinvestments.com and clicking on the deals section, or by going directly to www.unitedmedicalcredit.com/TBOD. Thanks again, UMC. Okay, guys, we're back. Tina, how are you doing today?
I'm doing so good. How are you?
Man, I am doing fantastic. You know, you guys in the audience don't know, but I attempted to interview Tina, about 5 days ago, and the power went out in my entire block and just totally ruined our interview. So Tina, thank you so much for giving me not just one, but 2 of your hours of your time to do this interview.
Yeah, of course. I know technical glitches happened. It was totally unexpected, but we're here today and I'm so excited to chat with you.
Absolutely. So real quick, Tina, before we get into anything, let's talk a little bit about your journey into becoming a dentist. And I already know this whole story because we did this portion of the interview already. So my apologies for making you tell us again, but talk to me a little bit about when you decided to become a dentist and going through dental school, opening your practice, things like that.
Yeah, so I actually was in college back in 2010. I needed a summer job, just like with any college kid. I just needed some money for some tuition or other expenses that I needed. And I went home for the summer and my guy at his church, his wife came and said, "Hey, we just need some extra help in the dental office." Back then, I wasn't really the most regular dental patient. I've had some dental issues myself as that type of patient where if something happened, that's when we went. But anyway, so I was really like a sterilization tech at the time. I also helped answer phones, do charts, turn over rooms, whatever extra hands were needed. And then I remember one day, just for the fun of it, one of their assistants was like, "Hey, help me take an allergen impression, or let's have you take x-rays." And I started doing that and I was like, "Hey, this is really fun." And I jumped into assisting too. And I was like, this is actually really cool. I spent a lot of time also growing up doing art, playing music, playing piano, violin. I also did oil painting, watercolor, all that stuff. And I realized that this was very an artistic type of profession. So it started to draw me. So going back then, after the summer job, I went to college. I happened to run into the Case Western Reserve University Dental School. I met a professor and she needed a research assistant. And I took that opportunity in periodontal, the connections between oral systemic health and perio disease. And then I just kind of fell into dentistry at that point. It was like calling me. And that's kind of my story as to becoming a dentist. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And if I remember correctly, you were actually a music major before you became a dentist, whenever you were getting this summer job. So it was a huge change in your life journey.
Exactly. I mean, in high school and part of college, I would be a concert pianist. Actually, I would go on stage and I would just solo, or I would duet with my sister, and we would have a full orchestra in the back and we'd have hundreds of people in the audience. And it was a huge career shift for me going from that. But like I said, there was something about dentistry that drew me over music. And that's how I went into it. Mm-hmm.
I'm curious. How does your sister feel about your decision. I mean, you kind of left her alone on the stage, man. What's up with that, Tuna?
I know. She's totally good with it. I mean, she, like, right now, it's funny, she ended up, now music is just more of a hobby for her, and she's actually recently discovered a passion in technology and medicine, and helping bridge those gaps through, I'm not really quite sure her job, but yeah, she's not actually in music. We now just play just for fun together.
Hey, man, maybe one day you guys will bring back the band. So,
Possibly.
you get out of dental school and you, I believe, worked as an associate for a while and then opened your own practice. Is that correct?
Yeah, I worked for a corporation, and I also worked in holistic dentistry for some time. And then after that, I decided I wanted to run a nice boutique little practice. And that's what I did. In 2015, I opened my practice in Carlsbad, which is North San Diego. And it's been a really exciting to have that practice, build our reputation from nothing, where we really were a scratch practice. And we're actually pretty consistently been ranked in San Diego by the Union Tribune, the local newspaper, as one of the top 5 dental practices to go to in San Diego.
Fantastic. And congratulations on your success there.
Thanks.
It's always so funny. Whenever I approached you about this, I told you, look, I'm thinking about doing this series on dentists who are also entrepreneurs. And it's funny how much I see that all these very similar characteristics, like a lot of us came into dentistry and it was like the last thing on our mind. It just kind of fell into our lap and we're like, oh, well, this is cool. And a lot of us were very artistic. A lot of us opened scratch startups. I personally think it's because we recognized the fact that we didn't like having a boss. That's my reason. But I mean, yours may be different. So recently, though, you have actually, aside from just becoming an entrepreneur, opening your own practice, a scratch startup, which is the scariest and most amazing thing ever, you have opened multiple other companies. Today, we're going to talk about your light company, but I would also like you to highlight your oral pathology company as well.
Yeah. So the pandemic was actually a huge turning point for me. I've always been somebody who's been really busy, and I have to say, I am a perfectionist. And when I say I'm like everything through everything. You look at the way my practice is run, we have books and canned books, and it's got to be like set up. The tray's got to be set up this way. Everyone knows what they're doing at that particular time. Like, there are systems in our office, and I enjoy that. But March, I think it's 2020, when we all had shut down, I think I went a little crazy because I was at home and I had nothing to do. And I'm a little bit of a worrywart. And so we found something to do. And actually, before COVID, I was really, really frustrated with some of my dental loupes and lights. Number one, I was not happy with how expensive they were. And I found myself changing my lights every couple of years because they would start dimming out, or the battery would suddenly heat up and die, or there was a lot of issues.
And a lot of times the battery is almost as expensive as buying a whole new unit. I mean, I had one that was from Design for Vision, and the battery was $900.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so what we had done was, because of the frustration, we had, my partner and I'm actually married to my co-founder, Ton, and we pulled apart all the lights that I had, like the old ones, because I had gone through so many brands. And we decided we're going to source different parts. We're going to find manufacturers. We're going to make the best light possible and make it founded by dentists for dentists, and then also reduce that cost for them, because it cannot possibly be $900 or $1,000 or whatever just to replace it. Like, what is in this that is so expensive? So, during, about that pandemic, we started really fine tuning things, getting our manufacturing done. And then to this day now, we have one of the best, highly recommended wireless lights on the market. And we only sell these for $350.
That's fantastic.
We have
That's an
so,
amazing price.
yeah. And is the brightest, it's the lightest, it's totally awesome. I think when I first came out, it was very difficult as an entrepreneur because people are just like, oh, they think about the bigger companies that are out there and they're like, okay, well, why is this so much cheaper? And I get it. Like there's that mindset, like it's cheaper, so it must not be so good. But we had some really good early adopters that had tried our product and they started sharing. They're like, no, this is actually better than the more expensive product. And over time too, like people who started hearing about products, their lights die from the other companies. They try to get that replacement part. And then they realize, wait, they can actually get an entire unit, the light and the battery, the wire, if they decide to go with the wire, for cheaper than just the replacement part.
That's
so
great.
I think here's the thing is I don't spend a lot of money on marketing. I don't pay, my tactic is I'm not paying sales rep, like
Right.
a lot of sales rep. Where we are is we're fully e-commerce. We cut pretty much the middleman out. I mean, I'm just going to say it that way so that we can give people the best product. And we rely a lot on our customers to share their experiences. And what makes me so happy, like I logged into our Facebook today and there was a hygienist saying like, I cannot believe I did not find this light sooner. I mean, it's because they have great customer service. I had issue, they fixed it right away. And now the light is like the best light I've ever had. And so this is like what drives me is like people who share about a product, they are the ones that help us grow as a company. Yeah.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about some of the things that you learned. I mean, types of LED bulbs, types of batteries, what were some of the major pitfalls from some of the manufacturers that you'd used previously? And full disclosure, I've gone through 5 different lights myself from different brands too. I ended up settling on the oroscopic iZoom because it was wireless. I think it was the first wireless one,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't practiced in quite some time, but I want to try one of yours. So what things specifically did you find that you had to kind of take from this company and this company and this company, or even just go completely, out of the box to find the right solutions?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most common complaints, there are 2 common complaints of any wireless light. It is the short battery life and the heaviness. The heavier the battery, I understand now, the more power you have, the longer lasting. But what ends up happening is that there's a lot of weight on your nose, with your loupes
Absolutely.
and everything. And you end up getting a lot of headaches or the fact that it just keeps dropping down. That's a huge frustration people have. And then so there's a fine balance that we had to hit between the weight of the battery and the life, the long lasting life. So when we first came out with our first product, everything was attached. The light and the battery, they were attached. But then the shortcoming of that though was that, we only had about 2 to 4 hour battery life. So one of the things that I find that's really important as an entrepreneur is talk to your customers, hear the good and the bad. Don't just take in the good and like live that. You have to hear the bad. And so we heard a lot where people loved our light. The only thing was the short battery life. And so we decided to make our light detachable, where the battery and the light was detachable. So you can charge it and then you can flip on another battery pack. And we sell those battery packs for only $99. Every time you get every time you get a new set with the battery and light, we send you 2 batteries, which gives you almost a full working stay length of it. But I learned, we had played early on with trying to get a longer life we pretty much try to maximize everything. And this was a good in between, good, actually decent, very good solution for our company. But yeah, I mean, just learning things like that. getting a lot of prototypes, between manufacturing and us to kind of bring
prototypes are inexpensive.
Sorry. Yeah. Prototypes are not. Yeah, they aren't. Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things as you kind of weigh out, is it, will this be worth it for us to get that prototype in the long run? I mean, we've had other, almost had other prototypes made, and then we were kind of glad with what decision and what route we ended up going.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you're doing an injected molded plastic shell, they can cost you $30,000.
Exactly.
It's insane. People don't understand that.
Yeah, exactly. Like before we had another type of light that we were trying to get on the market. Like we had an idea, we had the drawings and everything. We were quoted, yes, well over 30,000 just to get that type of prototype. And we're so glad we kind of changed gears to where we are right now. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I've always had that was a pet peeve of mine, and this isn't a criticism because I never touched your light. You were here because someone else told me you were amazing. And we're going to rectify that situation though, because I'm going to try one out. I'll give you guys an update. But one of the things that always upset me was that it seems to me one of the biggest point sources of cross-contamination is our lights. What have you guys done, or what do you see that could be done to fix that problem?
Yeah, cross-contaminations. Yeah, I mean, right now, frankly, our lights are a turn on and off with the button. We are working on a couple things to reduce that. I mean, me personally, I do wipe down my loupes and lights with between every single patient.
Right.
But yeah, it is a concern. It's just making sure you get in the habit of just wiping that button down. Now with our wired, the nice thing that we do have is we have changed the way our buttons work, where it's just a tap on the side of your palm or your elbow to just turn it on and off between patients.
Good foresight there. I mentioned earlier, I believe Designs for Vision was one of the first ones I started with. One of the brightest lights I've ever used, but one of the worst designs ever whenever it comes to sanitation, because they have this huge knob and you're turning that knob and the germs can get under the knobs, saliva can get under there. It's just very difficult to sanitize, and it really presents an issue for us in the dental office. So I'm really excited to hear that you guys kind of took that thought to mind and you made that push button so that it doesn't have an area where the germs can get trapped, where it's a lot easier to sanitize.
Yeah. So our first wired light, we had the turn button, and then that same thing, the thought came in my head. I was like, this isn't really the cleanest, like, yes, that's a traditional type of design, but let's move out of that design. And so we're working that with our wireless light to kind of change that and make it even better, where it's maybe touch-free or something like that. We'll see.
Fantastic. Well, one of the things I wanted to ask you about is, as I said, I went through 5 different ecosystems of lights and loupes and everything else. Which loop systems will your lights fit on? And talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we are adaptable to pretty much most 99.9% of the loupes out there. Our lights have those universal clips that can clip onto any loupe, safety glasses, face shield, anything like that. But it was really important for us to have attachments, because I know loupes is a very big investment. And once you find that pair that you like, you do stick with your loupes for quite a while. So we do custom design. We 3D print actually all our attachments that are specific to that specific loupe brand that you are utilizing. And it's really easy for us to identify which attachment. You can just email us a photo of your loupes and we can actually guide you on which attachment to do. But we've actually did recently launch a loupe line ourselves. And this is something, and I'm not trying to be vain because I'm a woman, I'll say that, but I like to look good when I do dentistry. So we actually worked with Prada, Tory Burch, Coach, and Michael Kors. We worked with them to be able to actually get very nice fashionable designer frames that fit the magnifications and the light and support that weight. So that's something we launched about a month and a half ago. And I mean, we're so excited. Like, we've been having a lot of people interested in purchasing loupes because they just they're really tired of the unfashionable sports frames.
Well, and the other thing is a lot of those sports frames, one of the problems that come in there, I actually had, again, I went through every loop there is. I actually had some oroscopic Nike sports. And one of the problems is because of the lack of rigidity in the brow, whenever you would tighten it up, it would actually change your focal point because it would do like this. And, I ended up for years using what I like to call birth control glasses, the Buddy Holly frame from Designs for Vision. They're ugly as can be, but good God, they're a stiff frame, but heavy. My Lord, they were so heavy. Yeah. So I'm glad to hear that you guys are coming up with some great designer frames that look good and perform well as well.
And it's not just that. I mean, people talk about this is something everyone's nose bridge is a little bit different too, and how it sits. And we've accounted for all of that.
Some of ours are very long.
Yes. And some of ours are really short and yeah.
So is there anything that I should have asked? Well, first of all, I'd like to make sure that I make the point of saying that, Tina, you're not paying me to do this. Is this correct?
No, I am not.
Okay. I do this for you guys because I actually want to help. If you are a dental entrepreneur, I'd love to have you on the show. I'd love to showcase your products. I'd love to help you to grow your company because I believe in entrepreneurship and dentistry, and I believe everyone should have a side hustle. Of course, it's probably because I'm highly ADD, but we'll share stories about COVID later and what I did during COVID. Hi, folks. This is Doc Huffpower, founder of the Business of Dentistry and host of the Dear Doc podcast. Before we go any further, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about one of our fine sponsors, Dentamax. Now, I've been able to land a phenomenal deal for all of our TBOD members and our listeners on the Dentamax Dream Sensor. Before I jump into the offer, if you didn't already know, Dentamax offers high-quality dental sensors. They sent me one of their Dream Sensors to try out in my office, and my staff just raved about it. If you're picky about image quality, Dentamax has you covered. When you get your sensor in, a technician will help you by setting it up so that you get clear, concise images all of the time. In fact, they can even set it to mimic a sensor that you had before that you like the image on. All you have to do is share which one it was. It has a tough, durable housing, and it's backed by a 3-year manufacturer warranty, which is one of the longest warranties in the industry. I also like the thin design. With the beveled corners, it makes it easy to place in the patient's mouth, and it's pretty comfortable. Now, I know a lot of you may be worried, will this work with my imaging software? You don't have to worry there. Dentamax has you covered there as well. Dentamax Dream Sensor works with virtually all software. In fact, it's usually plug and play, and you never even have to use a Twain driver. I'm excited to share this special with you because David Ornett, Dentamax's CEO, was willing to give us a really great deal. All of our members can try the Dentamax Dream Sensor for free. That's right. They'll ship it out to you and let you use it for 2 weeks. In fact, they'll even have their technician dial it in on your systems to make sure it looks as good as possible. Now, all you have to do to get this offer is go to dentamax.com/TBOD. But guys, that's not it. Dentamax is going to give you $3,000 off of their retail price, plus a $200 discount above and beyond that, just for being a member of this community. So you can get a size 1 sensor for just $27.99 and a size 2 sensor for $37.99. It's a really great deal on a really great sensor, but you don't have much time to wait because this deal ends on July 4th. So go ahead and go to dentamax.com/TBOD, check out the deal, and celebrate your freedom from high prices. Thanks again, folks. This is Doc Huffpower. Let's get back to the show. Yours was way more productive. So is there anything I should have asked about your company, like the name, which we haven't covered yet?
With Light Solutions.
Light Solutions. Okay. So Light Solutions. what else should people know about them? How can they get a hold of you? How can they get this product in their hands? And also, what is your warranty and what is your policy for whenever a light does break? What do you guys do to handle that?
So Light Solutions Company, first to answer your question is as I mentioned, we don't have sales reps. We are fully e-commerce. It's a very small team of us that run this. It's almost like a mom and pop shop, but it's, we've got our small team doing everything. We value ourselves on customer service. You can always reach us over the phone, email, on our website. It's very simple. To order your lights, pick the wireless one, click order and it's easy. But with our loupes, it's very, because we don't have reps, we're actually able to do digital measurements that we find very, very accurate. And all you have to do is step 1, pick your frame. Step 2, follow our instructions. We have a really quick video on how to get those measurements, send that photo to us, then pick your magnification, and then that's it. It's a very simple process. We warranty our loupes for a year. And then also we let you try them out. If it doesn't work, send it back. You have 45 days to send it back.
So your lights are $300. How much are your loupes?
So our lights are $350. Our loupes can be anywhere from $900 to about $1,300.
Okay.
That's a really fast, that is an incredibly low price for if you have shopped for loupes before, especially for something that you want that's like a designer. The last time we did, let's see, we just processed a Prada order with a light, and I think everything with the wireless came under $1,300.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that you know the prices of your competitors. So when I tell you that the last time I purchased loupes, I purchased 2 sets of eye zooms. Do you have any idea how much I spent?
4 or 5, I don't know.
$10,000.
And yeah, that's a huge investment. And the thing is like, you want to, the other thing is you need to be sure that investment works for you. And the last thing you want to do is have those loupes give out on you. We've seen people with the barrels just come out and then you're stuck for the day. We rely a lot on our loupes as dentists.
Man, you're hurting me because you're reminding me of things that happened to me. I dropped a pair of my extended vision 5X designed for vision. Again, you know how much those cost.
Yeah.
I dropped a pair of them, and because the lens is so darned long on the extended vision ones, both optics broke off at the glass, and it was my only pair at the time, which is why I started ordering 2 pairs every time I ordered loupes, which of course becomes very expensive. But I wish I had known about you then, because I could have saved a little bit of money there. I could have bought loupes for my entire team, which, by the way, folks, if you haven't done that, your dental assistants, it will change their entire world if you buy them loupes, and they'll love you for it.
Exactly. We have so many doctors that have realized that same thing. It adds value, like you value your staff members more by giving them something like this, and it helps them work more efficiently and faster, and they feel like they're very important on the team too.
Absolutely.
So I highly recommend getting any of your team members loupes. And it's, we all know there's a little learning curve, but once they get it, it's life-changing for them.
Absolutely. Oh man, I could tell you stories. The things that they would see for the first time, and it would blow their mind, and they would come back to me and they'd say things like, now I understand why you do such and such. And it's because, much like you, I am a hugely process-oriented person. Like, I have SOPs for everything. And so they would come back and they'd say, oh my God, I see the difference now, because I didn't do this thing you said we should do. And, I could see what was going on. It really changes your practice. I highly suggest that if you have the inclination at all to get better in dentistry, that you elevate your team. And one of the ways that you can do that is buying them loupes and lights. And don't worry, Tina can have those refitted for the next employee whenever it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely.
Not wishing you guys bad luck on your employees, but it's a tough workforce out there right now. Okay, so we've pretty much covered your, what was that again? Light
Solutions company.
And,
We were
and what was that?
formerly, it was Light Solutions Dental before, but now we've kind of rebranded to Light Solutions Company, got a little bit more of the catchy look, and kind of built our story on our website of who we are.
And if I were just stumbling around the internet, I accidentally typed in a random string of characters, which random string of characters would bring me to your website?
lightsolutionscompany.com, lightsolutionsdental.com.
Well, that's very aptly named.
Yeah.
Well, folks, you guys go ahead and take a look at that. I'm going to put that into the description of this podcast, and you guys will be able to just click on it and go there immediately. Now, Tina, I'm gonna twist your arm now. Go ahead and be like this. Get it into position.
Sure.
Ready? Okay. Is there anything? And guys, I'm springing this on her, and if she can't do it, I'll just cut this section out. So, is there anything that you can do for our members? Is there any kind of discount that you can give them, or let's say a volume discount? Let's say someone says, "Hey, I want to get loupes for my whole team. If you buy X number of loupes and lights, we'll give you X amount off." Is there something like that you can do?
Okay. Wow, you sprung this on me for sure.
I really did, folks. So,
I really believe that everyone should get, like you said, everyone should get a good pair of loupes. They should get their teen loupes. And what I'll do, and I hope, hopefully my co-founder, Tom, doesn't kill me, but we'll do,
slash husband. You have to sleep with
slash husband. Yeah. For anybody listening to this podcast, we'll do 10% off on our loupes. We're already low price, 10% off on any of our designer frames. We'll do that just for you guys.
Now, how do you find out that they listen to this podcast? What do they need to tell you?
I'll give you a secret code that you're going to enter into the checkout. What should the secret code be?
TBOD rocks with an X. ROX. What do you think?
TBODROX.
I love it.
Okay. TBODROX.
All right. Fantastic, guys. You heard it right here. TBODROX. No need for capital. It's just put it in there. And you're going to get 10% off of your loupe order. Now, is that loupes and lights, or is it loupes only, or is it lights only? What do you want to do there, Tina?
Yeah, we can do, so we'll do that for the loupes for 10. And then for the lights, let's do $15 off for everybody. And we'll do another code for that. How do you want to do TBOD light?
Sure enough.
Okay, perfect.
All right, I'm writing this down now. TBOD light, LIGHT, for $15 off, folks, or TBOD rocks for 10% off. If you want to get both of those deals, you are going to have to order these things separately, most likely, because of the way that most carts are set up on websites. But I'm telling you, it's one hell of a deal. Tina, thank you for setting everybody up like that. And I'm sorry for putting you on the spot, dear.
No, it's okay.
So my last question to you is, as I mentioned in the beginning of this interview, you are not just an entrepreneur, you're a serial entrepreneur, and you have another company. What can you tell us about it?
Okay, so we're very, very new out there. One of the things, I'm going back to the pandemic, is I got a lot of calls during COVID, and we were screening patients to see kind of what their pain was, and what we should go in and not, because I know there was so much uncertainty around the pandemic. And
it really was.
The other thing too is, as I was thinking about it, I was like, there's so many people that call with dental cavities. They're having pain because it's probably a cavity or an infection. And I don't think people have intention to have a bad tooth or anything. And I started thinking, 100% of dental cavities and gum disease are preventable. Perio disease is still the #1 inflammatory disease in the world. But why are we not, as a society, being able to control that better? And I love, helping people out in restorative dentistry, but I also love to help people prevent. And that's part of my thing as a practice, is we coach people on how to do so. Now, in medicine, we do blood draws all the time, but in dentistry, we're taking x-rays and we're seeing, like, showing patients the cavities that have already happened. And so I was like, why are we not preventing dental problems better? So currently we are in research and development on a salivary technology. We are pretty much trying to come up with an in-chair technology where we can help people understand their dental health better and give them a customized solution on how they can prevent cavities and gum disease and bad breath for the future. So that's kind of a short intro right now. It's all pretty new. We have a full research team that helps us in developing this technology. We've brought in some really big KOLs in the space, even with the Kois Center to help us determine the markers for this test. I spend a lot of my time talking to other clinicians to see what they want to see and how we can help their patients. But I do believe that there's so many connections between oral and systemic health. So part of my time that I spend outside my practice is developing this technology. As an entrepreneur, you have to put yourself out there.
Absolutely.
We've been pitching and fundraising, as we are pre-revenue right now. And then we're hoping to get this thing launched.
Is there an opportunity for dentists who want to invest in your company to invest now?
Yeah, so I can, yes, there is. We are actually taking investors as of now. We did get another investment yesterday on our company, and they can contact me through email, and I'll probably set up a time where we'll do a bigger pitch and information session about this. Right now, I'm just going to get the details of the fundraise out. We are raising $1 million right now with a minimum check size of $25,000. And anything under 50,000, we're raising under a safe. Anything above 50,000, we are going into a convertible note. We have some partnerships that we cannot disclose yet.
You're going to actually have to explain a couple of things to them. Most of them don't know what a convertible note is.
Oh, okay.
Most of them don't know what a safe conversion is either.
Okay. So basically you will get a little equity in exchange for the type of, depending on how much money that you put in. A safe is promised for equity in the future. A convertible note is it will convert into equity on a certain date. That's kind of like the high level of things. And that's actually one of the things I will say, as coming from a dentist and learning all those terms and venture capital, it's like,
absolutely,
it can be overwhelming, but we have people that will walk you through that process. We just need, like, hey, I believe in this technology. This is something we want to use in dentistry that will really help our patients. We just need that yes, and that small financial commitment that yes, you want to be part of this journey. And, we know that you will receive an ROI, a return on investment later on. Mm-hmm.
All right. So I have to geek out here with you. So a lot of people don't know this, but my undergrad was molecular and cellular biology, and I'm also about 12 hours away from having a chemistry degree. So I'm about the biggest geek you're ever going to find in dentistry. So are you guys using in situ hybridization? Are you using ATP utilization, immunofluorescence, or are you using antigen antibody complexes, or something different that I don't know about?
We use antigen antibody complexes too.
Very cool. So you've got a really, really high specificity.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
and,
we have, exactly. We test our tests very rigorously. Like right now, nail down our markers, and we're making sure that it's very specific to what we want in that range, so it is accurate.
Is there any chance that you guys will also introduce multi-category tests, like say a panel where you can not just look at the carcinogenic bacteria, orange complex, red complex, all that stuff that, most dentists don't even pay attention to, but also, let's say parotid gland tumors, because they throw off markers in the saliva, as does pancreatic cancer and prostate cancer.
Yeah, so the platform that our platform technology allows us to do that. We right now as a team are really just focusing just on a general wellness test, but all what you've talked about is really just later on in the pipeline as we're raising more capital to be able to do that and have those additional tests that people want.
Fantastic. Guys, you see your patients every 6 months. Their PCP only sees them when they're sick. Most of them don't go to the doctor every year. I go every 3 months because I'm on medications that I have to have monitored. But, the thing is that you're in a unique position that you can not just help people to get healthier. You can save lives by finding things early before their primary physician would ever find it. We're talking stage 1 versus stage 4 or stage 3. So when she comes back on, I really want you guys to pay attention, because this is the future of dentistry if you want to remain a private practitioner.
I think there's also something to be said too, because in the fact that we don't want to be seen as clinicians that just fix the problem. When I go to my doctor, I love it when my doctor says, we see this, Tina, on, your blood. Like, for example, I'm putting out this, I have thyroid issues. Here are some things that can help with that regulation better, and staying on top of things, because we don't ever want something to be too late. And you actually will drive more patients into your practice, because that word of mouth where, hey, my dentist is not out there to try to fix every cavity. They are my cheerleader and my coach in my oral health and overall wellness.
Well, it's not just that. I used carie-free products for years. I'm not sure if you're familiar or not, but
Kim Cush, he's the founder of carie-free. He is actually on our team.
Fantastic. So I used his ATP utilization test. I didn't charge for it even, because if I saw a patient who had just way too many cavities for, you see someone who walks in and they take meticulous care of themselves. They're always very well dressed. Their shoes are shined. Their hair is always done correctly. For women, they're all made up when they come in. They're the kind of person who is particular about the way they take care of themselves. And you start seeing a lot of cavities there. It starts making the wheels turn. It makes you wonder why. And so I had run this ATP utilization test, and sure enough, most of them had off the chart numbers, between 7,500 and 9,999. And you can tell them, hey, look, this is not your fault. Because the first thing is they're worried about being blamed, especially people who are really, really high strung, I would say, right? They're worried that you're blaming them, and that causes resistance to treatment acceptance. So if you can show them, hey, look, you've got bacteria in your mouth that, most people's bacteria produces a thimbleful of acid, but yours produces a bucketful, and you can have the same diet that someone else does, and you're going to have more cavities. But there are things that we can do that to ameliorate that problem and make it to where your teeth and your restorations will last longer. But it's going to take us deciding together to sometimes be more aggressive with your cavities than I would with someone else's cavities. And it is maybe sometimes going to be regimens at home that you're going to have to fulfill that most people don't, but we're going to work together to keep you healthy. People appreciate that. And frankly, guys, that sells dentistry.
Exactly. You bring in the best patients there. They're the ones that care for their health, and they will bring people who are similar like that, who want to have a provider that cares for them. So that's the best dentistry ever.
Well, Tina, thank you so much for joining us today. And, it's funny. I told you this the other day, right before the power cut out. The more I learn about you, the more I like you. We are so very similar in the way that we think. Evidently, I have a little Asian woman trapped in my body. So I don't know. There's lots of room for her in there. There could be 2 or 3 of them, you know. So you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you for giving us some of your time to listen to the sound of my voice droning on and to get to hear the amazing things that Dr. Tina Saw is doing. Tina, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for what you do for dentistry.
Well, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed talking about everything today and getting to know you. And I'm excited to have the listeners here try out our products. I'll put those codes nice and live. Will be live soon. And then, yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions, and we'll go from there. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. This is Doc Huffpower coming to you from my home studio here in Alvin, Texas, signing off. We'll see you next time. Hey, guys, this is Doc Huffpower, founder of the Business of Dentistry and host of the Dear Doc podcast. Today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about one of our sponsors. 4G Dental Labs has been a sponsor of the Business of Dentistry for over 2 years now. They're a family-owned business located here in Houston, Texas. They're fast, they're reliable, but best of all, they provide affordable quality. They're just plain, honest, good people. For our TBOD members, for your first 20 crowns, every 5th one will be free. Contact 4G Dental Labs at 833-682-8901. Again, that's 833-682-8901. Or you can mail or even just stop by. Jeff Guidey, the owner, would be glad to see you.
Thanks for listening to the Dear Doc podcast, your source for the business and legal questions associated with your dental practice. Don't forget to subscribe to the Dear Doc podcast on all major platforms.